varies almost 10 times. Black market rate for US dollars is 120 to 1, and the bank rate is 11 to 1. 120 to 1 is about right, a little cheaper on that basis than items in the US, but you have to shop around, needless to say, for items that we take for granted. That's a clock tower up there. It too is bombed out and not working, but from here it looks okay. Well, that's all for now. I don't want anybody to get upset that I'm using this camera. Apparently it's illegal. We'll see if we can smuggle it in a knapsack and get some pictures ashore. We'll be back later. Cargo camels. I'm a little nervous about taking pictures here, but we're in downtown Aden. You can see it's a bit more torn. Pretty rough. The cargo camels, they bring stuff into town on top of these camels. And of course that's my bride there. And completely covered. This is sort of an opium that they chew. A lot of it's sold. Just market stall. This is a pretty rough area. A lot going on. We're here to do some shopping before we go to Djibouti, which will be a little bit better, I think. Hoping Sue doesn't get to like these camels too much. As it is, I'm worried about cats on the boat. Camel wouldn't be too handy. They pull these carts with these camels. Camel drivers.
My friend.
I think we've got an affair going here. Good looking camel.
She says, "Where's my food?"
Yeah, here's a bomb crater. It turned into a garbage dump. And just got passed by a truck loaded with army personnel and machine guns. It's bombed out. And the hills all around look like great places to fight in, but an ancient harbor called Sierras. Been used thousands of years ago. The British somehow came in here in the 1800s. God knows how they made it. But Aden itself has been a stronghold and port for mankind ever since mankind. It's geographically so unusual. And a lot of the buildings, obviously not those, but some of them are thousands of years old. And the Arabs have been fighting up around these hills for more than thousands of years. A bit run down. As I think I said before, obviously war ravaged. Not a lot of money thrown around. It's amazing. In Oman, we were not allowed to take pictures. Very strict in Oman. But squeaky clean. Not a scrap of paper on the streets. The women in South Yemen wear black completely. The men dress brilliantly, but the women are in absolute black, covered completely with veils, eyes and all. Can't take a picture from the front. Well, these are the baths of the Queen of Sheba. How far back does this go in?
It doesn't. It really doesn't say.
Yeah, I wondered. Yeah, before Christ, but I didn't know.
Well, they say Queen of Sheba, but that would be, time of King Solomon.
Yeah, it'd be a couple of thousand BC or 1,000 BC, I guess.
I would say it'd be maybe 1,000 BC.
When you get a lot of rain, the water gushes down here, overflows this whole arrangement, which has been reconstructed, comes down under us, unfortunately over us, gushes through here and on down and does a lot of damage. They think it's 1,000 years BC. And the steps go all the way up.
Where?
Right here.
Yes, cut into the stone.
Said the armies ran all the way up to the top here, and they'd fight from up there.
Wow. Wow.
Good movie set. Yeah, unfortunately, during the rainy season, which is now, this whole thing fills up and wipes out anything on its path. This has just been fascinating, these baths of the Queen of Sheba. And we're looking out now into the Arabian Sea. I don't know whether it shows up way out there, but... And from here, we gotta hit the Arabian Sea again. Been out there quite a while. From here, we'll go to Djibouti, which has a strong French presence due to its military base and deal that France made with Djibouti when Djibouti became free. Hard to imagine that 3,000 years ago or more they engineered this whole thing as a means of saving water and providing water in the non-rainy season. Well, fascinating. Not Bermuda, but fascinating. Aden, very, very interesting. And of course, this is a great panoramic view. But still a good deal of unrest, unfortunately.
So, what do we get in the city? It's very good.
Our driver was explaining that the combination of North and South Yemen is not without its problems, and they still don't get along too well. The North is in charge now, and we're in what used to be the South. The North wants Aden Harbor, which is quite a stronghold, and the South Yemenites feel oppressed. There seems to be quite a difference in personality between the Northern Yemenite and the South. The Northern still carry knives. I'd love to get some pictures of them, but I think it's a sensitive thing. But they still wear very proudly these ornate daggers that they apparently use to fight with and flaunt them. And the Southern Yemenites don't care for it. They've just kind of decided and discovered oil and decided to deal with it, but the government is obviously let things go to hell. It's filthy dirty no matter where you turn around. Looks like there is no garbage, but I have seen camel carts picking up garbage in the streets. You just have to wonder where it'll all go. lots of corruption. Of course, the South feels it's from the leaders in the North place. And this is just one pen after another of sheep and goats and cattle. This fellow wants his picture taken with his. This fellow is very proud of his goats. Beautiful. Oh, that's great. They look good. And these fellows want their picture taken. And the battery is low, but we're going to try anyway. They're very proud of these. They're sheep and goats. Okay, that's good. Shukra. Dampness has gotten to one of the switches, but I think I got it fixed. And it's a fascinating place. A little cleaner than Aden. We're trying to get some fuel here, and it's a big deal. Started at 9 this morning. Shifted around a few times, dealing with the port captain and all. We're traveling with Pegaso, Bill and Alicia. Kira, that's a delivery team. They're on their way to the Med. Lovely boat. And it looks like this is working again, so I'm delighted. Well, for now, be a mess, but we'll have to have Pegaso over for dinner.
That's the end of it.
And as you can see, we have a real meat-eating rig. It's about a 150-pound test, and that's about all we can live with, because sometimes you end up with something so big we've lost a lot of lines and lures. It'll be bloody but delicious. We're in the Red Sea. We had a record passage until just recently. We're under power heading for an anchorage, but we have been doing 9 to 10.5 knots for a day and a half. Dead before the wind, surfing down waves. Wind is generally about 30 knots. And needless to say, weren't taking any pictures. But this guy will be good. I'm just about to pour a bit of booze in him to make it a little easier on him. And that's it. We have just arrived in Eritrea, formerly Ethiopia. They won their independence about 3 years ago. And we're in the outer harbor waiting to be cleared. You can see the bombed out buildings here, which were quite pretty, and I guess I understand that they're making great attempts to rebuild them and rebuild their economy after the war. And we're told they're very friendly. We're hoping they are. Quite a pretty harbor. Had a really nice sail here. Yeah, I'll shift to another easier spot astern. I thought we were a little further up the Red Sea. I just looked at the chart and the GPS, and it tells me that we still have 950 miles to Suez, and we'll have northerly winds, I'm sure. Most of this trip has been northerly. The front end was a strong southerly, 30-35 knots. We made great time, and the last 90 miles has been dead to weather. We've been sailing with a boat called Pegaso. Bill and Alicia, great company, lovely boat. C&C 62, they handle it alone and do a beautiful job. And as of last evening, we came across a boat called Royal Front, a young British couple. And I don't know that they have an engine. They sail in and out of every anchorage, apparently, including this one. boat that we were sailing with and have met before. I'll just pan back again. Well, I shouldn't say sailing with, but have seen every now and then. That's Kon-Tiki, and they are from New Zealand. Tony and Trish. We'll eventually go into that inner harbor, we hope, once we clear customs and everything works out okay. I don't know who that is. Another boat arrived ahead of us. And that's about it for now. We'll come back with more later. Got a lovely day and a lovely soil. Yeah, Haile Selassie's palace. We're doing a little tour of Massawa. It's quite a beautiful harbor, in fact. I didn't expect it to be this attractive.
You have to go sit in one of those chairs. I'll take a picture of you.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we're on a tour with a driver that doesn't speak English and a guide that doesn't speak English and a little boy that sure tries. And this is a resort. Eritrea has been bombed out, but it's most impressive. Their rebuilding effort is most impressive. And this is one of the resorts at the lower end. We've got a few people here. We're with Bill and Alicia. House complete with music. This is big time, I'll tell you. Well, in fact, it's big time for us because we have not been ashore for a while, so we are enjoying Eritrea. I haven't even understood his name, but he's a heck of a nice young guy.
Hi, guy.
Hi, guy.
No, I said a smile. No, smile. Come on, come on.
No, it has to be very serious. Well, I guess I'd call it a Bedouin village. Who's got a friend? We're just outside of Massawa, and this is more Bedouin village. Most of these folks are herdsmen. They eat camels here. Well, they eat almost anything they can get, I guess. But I hadn't realized until recently that they ate camels. They claim they're very good. People seem very happy here in Eritrea. And it's amazingly clean, having been through a war that went on for many years, and very pro-USA, which is heartening. And so I'm just quite impressed with the rebuilding program. The war has only been over, I guess, a few years. Still plenty of evidence with tanks all around and aircraft engines and bent propellers and busted trucks and all that stuff. Disabled, blown apart. Still around. And the local fishing fleet. And a nice Nice travel lift. Probably just as well the smell doesn't come through here. Pretty gutsy guys that take these out. Well, we're still in Massawa, and we're having a drink at a hotel. It's a lovely place. Didn't expect it to be so nice. Those fellows are from Norway. They had just checked in as we checked in yesterday. And a large part of the harbor we got a shot of earlier on this wonderful machine. And this will be a tough place to leave, but I got a weather fax this morning early, and unusual, but the wind is about to do a turn, we think, and come out of the south. And it's been sort of a fight with a northerly. So although we had hoped we'd stay here 3 days, if I can fix a fuel filter tonight. Jerry jugged about 60 gallons of fuel and got that done, and if that's the case, we'll leave early tomorrow morning. We have a long stretch from here. Unfortunately, there's not an easy stop. It's about 180 miles, and if it's a beat to weather, it won't be fun. And if we're lucky enough to have some favorable winds, which is unusual in the Red Sea, we must go. Just thought I'd get one more shot of Selassie's home. A bit bombed out. Tough place to leave, but then again, most of these places are tough to leave. Well, we're still in the Red Sea. I was about to say unfortunately, but it's not been such a terrible trip so far. The psychology of the thing gets you down, and we're so worried about making it up there. And the winds are generally against you, but we've been very fortunate. We're in Suakin right now, a very good harbor. Used to be the main port of Sudan. We've finally finished with the coast of Eritrea, which was quite interesting. This particular, and I'll just zero in on it, this is just quite a scene. Good anchorage, protected harbor here. This village, or this ruins, looks bombed out. It really isn't. It's a couple hundred years old, but it's been destroyed because there is no wood in this area. And when the port was shifted to Port Sudan, which is about 30 miles north of where we are, the natives took all the wood out of these houses, just tore them apart out of these buildings to rebuild homes and other places around here. But it's quite an interesting place to wander through, as you can imagine. We won't go into Port Sudan. It's a big hassle, I understand. We haven't checked in here yet. We just got here last evening. Kind of a rough ride, difficult entrance, well marked, but a big sea. Fascinating place. Can't wait to get ashore and look it over. We began checking in last evening. I'm told it takes several hours. They came to the boat. That's a beautiful scene. Quite a good marketplace here, we're told. Now that pan is about 200 degrees around our boat, maybe 250, 270. So it gives you an idea how interesting it is. It's not highly populated. Last evening we saw plenty of donkeys pulling carts and camels. Dhows, you know, those older boats that are beached with the tide. Some of them not with the tide. A lot of mosques. Seem very friendly, very unusual. I don't think I could take too much of the Arab atmosphere. We're told in Sudan, here, they're not wild about U.S. people, and we'll find out this morning. They were very friendly, the two fellows that came aboard last evening. One was allegedly a doctor, I'm sure he wasn't, and the other started as the port captain, but eventually explained that he was an assistant to the assistant. Okay, closed for now. Try to report a little more later. Local market in Suakin. Very friendly, had a real deal checking in. Quite a spot. No, okay. They don't like their pictures. Quite a scene here. This is the market, and you might say it's third world. Hobbled donkeys, muzzled camels. The place kind of teems in the morning, but it's harder to take a picture. They don't like pictures taken. These tables are just loaded.
What? You have lots of fine things like this? Yes. كيف ما يسوي؟ جدع. الساعة باقي كم؟ ده كم باقي دي الساعة كده؟ عارف الساعة دي؟ الساعة كم؟ ما بعرف. اثنين لكن الدقائق حقهم.
Well, it's not a horse, but I hope we don't take it back on the boat. This is a crowd here, and they're a good group, and they're all smiling. All right, you too. Oh, these guys love the camera now. They've all been taking turns taking pictures, and now they're all movie stars. All right, you guys. They're all caught up in these cameras now. Some long hops, and we've been lucky calling the weather. We're looking at Pegaso, a bill in